Hello and welcome to today's episode of HealthVOX. I'm Kevin Schuker.
And I'm Eric Choka.
On today's show we have an important interview with Rene Koo, a certified thermographer.
And some information on the new organic labeling laws. But first, some health news.
Trans fatty acids are continuing to be a health challenge and becoming a growing headache for the fast food and convenience food producers. The effect of heating an oil produces trans fatty acid, especially in deep-fried foods. Major national chains are being forced to disclose the amount of trans fat in their fried foods and bakery products. With multi-million-dollar lawsuits being won against the cigarette industry, it is only a matter of time before consumers decide to take on the fast food industry. If you want to make a change in what you eat, first change what you buy. Becoming a fully informed consumer helps you protect yourself and your loved ones from dangerous food choices. New organic standards and labeling were announced in October of 2002. Here's what to look out for when identifying your food choices.
Hi, I'm Eric Choka and welcome to the farm. How do you know if your food is truly organic or not? Well, the U.S. Department of Agriculture has put in place a set of national standards that food labeled organic must meet, whether it is grown in the U.S. or imported from other countries, and this has gone into effect as of October 21, 2002. You may ask, what exactly is organic food? According to the USDA, organic food is produced by farmers who emphasize the use of renewable resources and the conservation of soil and water for our future generations. Organic dairy products come from animals that are given no antibiotics or growth hormones. In addition, organic food is produced without using most conventional pesticides, petroleum-based fertilizers, or sewage-based fertilizers, bioengineering, or ionizing radiation. None of those sound good to me. Look for the new USDA seal. It's a green and white circle that says USDA Organic. There are 4 categories for package labeling, and they are as follows. If it's only organic ingredients, it can say 100% organic. If it has 95 to 100% organic ingredients, it says organic. If it has 70 to 95%, it can say made with organic ingredients, but it won't say organic. And if it has less than 70% organic ingredients, they can list them on the side panel, but it won't say organic on the front either. Now, back to Kevin.
In the past 50 years, the chances of getting breast cancer have been increasing. In 1950, it was 1 in 20. Present day, 1 in 3. As reported by the National Cancer Institute, in 2002 in the United States, 180,000 women will be diagnosed with breast cancer. Over 40,000 will die. That's 1 death every 12 minutes. By the end of this show, 3 people will have died from breast cancer. However, there are some exciting news on the horizon. Of all lumps detected, only about 20% of biopsies are diagnosed as cancer. The key to success is in early detection. If cancer or any disease is discovered early, there are many available treatment choices. In understanding cancer, we learn that as cancer grows, it needs a blood supply, creating a network of blood vessels to feed itself. This process is called angiogenesis. Here we see how small blood vessels emerge from a larger artery to join with abnormal growth of cells. A digital thermograph is the only machine known to measure angiogenesis. Today, we are bringing you an interview with Renee Koo, a certified digital thermographer. She will show us how this technology is useful in detection of early breast cancer. As nothing is emitted from the camera, the manufacturers proudly claim this procedure is 100% safe. This is great technology and allows for the earliest possible intervention and treatment. Here is our interview with Renee Koo. So here I am with Renee Koo, and she's going to give us a little information about digital image thermography. So Renee, why don't you tell us a little bit about the machine and how it works?
Thank you, Kevin. This modality is called Digital Infrared Thermographic Imaging, DITI for short. Now, thermography has been around for a few years, but it hasn't been digital. And so the exciting thing is that being digital, the computer actually captures the body heat real time on the monitor, and so one can view one's body on the monitor and see the actual body heat, whether there is a condition that's suspect, and to see whether there is angiogenesis going on, meaning blood flow in the cell causing a tumor to grow. The body heat will show up in red, hyperthermic rather than a coolness in the color on the thermogram. So that is the value of the machine, that it does pick up physiological changes in the body before it appears as a lump on an X-ray or a mammogram.
That's great. So how could our viewers use this technology to better understand their bodies?
Well, the value of the thermogram is that it's an early detector of any disorder in the body before it appears on an X-ray or a mammogram. It will show changes in the body physiologically before a condition forms into a discrete lump that will show up. And that is the difference between a thermogram and the conventional means of detection.
So what would areas of increased heat or lower heat in the body indicate?
The changes are shown via body heat. The camera will show the heat, hyperthermia, meaning it's excess heat in the body, by showing the image, that area of the body to be red versus a cooler part of the body, so that a patient can just stand in front of the camera and the monitor will show real time how the body is, what condition the body is at that particular time.
So how would you see this? How would you pick this up on the image? Greater body heat will show whether an inflammation is present, or whether if there is blood flowing into the cell, whether a tumor is growing or metastasizing, so that if there is any growth in that cell, that will show up as excess heat. So does this technology help with the diagnosis of chronic pain? Can we use this in any way to help anybody with this particular situation?
Yes. This machine is also valuable for showing fractures, sciatica, all sorts of pain management. It will show not only the area where the patient feels pain, but also the source of the pain. So that if one feels pain in one area of the body, you might not know that the pain stems from another part of the body, and that the other part of the body will also show heat.
So recently we've heard a study from China indicating that self-examination might not be the best possible way for self-detection of small tumors. And also mammography is being demonstrated to be also controversial and perhaps causing and damaging as much tissue as it is examining. Do you see that digital thermography may play a role in early detection of breast cancer?
Well, many of my women patients love this tool. They would rather have a thermogram than a mammogram. And in many cases, as a baseline for further annual screenings. So if they've been asked to get a mammogram, they would rather come to me for a thermogram to satisfy their annual requirement, because instead of being exposed to radiation, they would, of course, this method does not expose the patient to radiation or the discomfort of having their breast compressed by the apparatus in mammogram. And this method is totally non-invasive, and they can just sit in front of a camera and have their breasts viewed by the camera.
And what would you recommend to somebody as far as coming in and using this technology? Is it a yearly visit, or would you recommend more frequent visits?
If a patient needs just a screening, they can certainly come and have a thermogram annually. However, if the thermogram does pick up something suspicious, or if the person feels that there is something that is suspicious, we need a thermogram using this as a baseline, and then ask them to come back every 3 months to check to see whether there are any other changes that has occurred since their first thermogram.
How would a digital thermograph compare in accuracy against a mammogram?
I would say it would be even more accurate. We would use this as an adjunct to mammogram. This would confirm any findings by a mammogram. In fact, it would pick up more than a mammogram. So I'd say the percentage would be in the high 90s of accuracy.
We also read in here that radiology centers are recommending total body MRI as a way of monitoring internal disease in the body, and yet MRI is also possibly holds health risks. Do you see that digital thermography has a role to play in total body scanning?
Yes, this, as I said, this is an adjunct and a good complementary tool as a first step in screening and a confirmation for any suspicions of any disorders in the body. Now, it will not pick up anything that's internally in the organs, being that it picks up only body heat. So it will pick up surface body heat, the differences in body temperature on the body. However, it doesn't go that deep, so that if there is any say nodes in the liver, might not pick that up, so that one needs to go for further checking.
That sounds great. Finally, could you talk us through a session, how somebody would prepare to come and have a digital thermograph, anything they would need to know prior to coming to you, and roughly describe what a typical session may be?
First thing I would ask for the patient to do in preparation for their appointment would be that they abstain from their medications or supplements that particular day, if they can, optimally, and not to stress their body before they come in, which means no exercise or caffeine or spicy food that morning. So we want their body to be perfectly cool before they come, Now when they're in the room is also cool, so we want to see the contrast in their body so that the machine will pick up any sort of body heat that appears on a part of their body that's not supposed to be there.
We've also read that some practitioners recommend cooling the body. Is that something that you also practice?
Well, the value of this particular machine is that it doesn't require cold stressing, which means dipping a part of the body, your hand in many cases, in cold water, ice cold water before we start. However, that could be an option in when we do the screening, because in that case it will show, the contrast will be even more drastic when we do the thermogram. So it is an option.
Okay, great. That's great. Thanks, Renee. So now Renee is going to do a digital thermograph on me of my head. So we're going to go back next door and I'm going to have my first digital thermograph. So here we are back in the examining room with Renee, and first of all she's going to briefly describe and show us the thermograph.
Here's the actual equipment. We have the monitor, the computer monitor here, as well as the camera. This being totally non-invasive, the patient will stand in front of the camera or sit in front of the camera, and I will indicate the camera to scan, and here I can point the scan, and as you see that the mirror is fluttering with the patient supposedly in front of the camera. And there it is. That's all there is to it.
So here I am. I'm sitting in front of the thermograph, and Renee is now going to do a thermograph of my head. This is the first time we're doing this. This is quite exciting, and I'm looking forward to seeing the results. So over to you, Renee. What should I have to do?
All right, just look straight at the camera, Kevin.
Do I have to close my eyes?
No, you don't. Just look straight at the camera with your eyes open. Don't move while I just click the computer to scan your image. All right, here it goes. Meanwhile, as you can hear, the camera is fluttering. And the image is appearing on the monitor.
Great.
All right, it's done.
That's it. That's
it.
Great. Thank you very much.
Totally, yes.
Let's have a look and see what we found.
All right.
So here we are, and many people have called me a hot head, but here it looks like my head is very hot. What do we see here?
Well, room condition wasn't perfect, so we have to take that into consideration with all the lights, camera, yes, under lights. We see Kevin's cheek and chin warm and the forehead warm. And so normally that wouldn't happen, but we do. This is an accurate picture of what's happening right now.
Well, I would say it's very accurate. I'm feeling very warm under these lights, and certainly looks like me. So thanks very much for doing that. It's going to make a great Halloween gift for somebody this year. And I now believe we're going to go and look at a few more examples of this that you have on your computer. So let's go look at some more images and see how they compare. So here we are back again in the office, and I'm sitting here with Renee, and she's going to go through a few of the images here on her computer with us. So we're going to see some great images now, and you'll really be able to see the contrast and the colors and see how vibrant and how accurate and what these thermographs can really show up. So tell us a little here, Renee. What are we looking at in this photograph?
So when we're taking a headshot, what we're looking for is to see whether there are any excess heat, any place in the head or neck.
Okay.
So if someone is suffering from sinuses, one can usually see anything that's...
So here on this picture, we're looking here and the sinus is above the nose there?
Well, we see some redness around the nose area, the nasal area, and possibly headache.
The redness
and so
showing.
the redness on the forehead might be signs of a headache, or making sure that the hair is completely off the face. We see that a complete image of the face. Here we see that this woman, in this case, this female, has a cold chin, and we're talking about differences in color. Blue meaning coolness, green meaning normal, yellow meaning warmth, and red meaning heat. Now the white means it's extra hot, and so that needs to be noted.
Right, I see we have some here on the upper,
yes,
her left
which
head
could or could not be something suspect. What's important is that it appears the same symmetrically on both sides of the body.
Okay, so here we are. We've pulled up an interesting photograph here. So here we see it's not quite so cool. We got some more redness here.
Redness in the breast, in the upper part of her left breast. You see that there is redness stemming from her neck all the way radiating to her breast, her left breast. And this woman has not been feeling well. However, she hasn't pinpointed any particular condition, and so she just came because she wasn't feeling well, and just to get a checkup to see how her body is seen on the thermogram. And so we see that there are areas of heat here and areas of concern.
So, and also we have this asymmetry between her left side and her right side. The heat being much greater on her left, and that would be something that you would definitely look for, as the asymmetry.
Left side, you see that there is some sort of redness there.
Right.
And on the other side, okay, you see that there is some redness, some redness here, and oblique. This is an oblique view of her breast.
Yeah.
And you see that there is redness on both sides. And the other side would be it's more emphasized in this view here.
Yes,
What's interesting is that her armpits are cool.
Yes.
Usually that is warm.
Okay, Renee, so see you've just pulled up another interesting picture, and this would be a normal thermograph? Is this what we're looking at? Yes,
this would be symmetrical breasts. You don't see any heat in either of the breasts.
Okay, so this light blue area, this light blue color is what we would consider normal, is it?
That's
okay,
right.
great. And then coming up into this green that is also normal, what we would expect coming up into this area, and the armpits being warmer is also. So this would be like a good baseline for somebody to come in, have an early baseline, and we could pick up early blood flow changes. That's a great idea.
All right.
Well, that's great. Well, we want to say thank you to Renee. She's really done a great job here. And how could people contact you, Renee, if they wanted to make an appointment with you?
People can contact me at 917-449-9272 or at brighteyes.net.
Do you do home visits for people who may not be able to? Yes, it's
portable. Yes, I would gladly do home visits for anyone who's not able to leave the house, or who would prefer to have me do it in their offices.
Great. Well, again, we want to thank Renee very much. She's doing great work out here, and we hope you've all enjoyed this insight into body thermal imaging, and perhaps it may be for you. It's certainly something that you might want to look out for in the future, perhaps do a little bit more research for yourself, but it certainly seems like it has a value in understanding your body a little bit more, seeing where the heat and the cold may be holding inside the body, perhaps some stagnation in the lymphatic system. So from me, Kevin, I'd like to thank you all for watching, and we'll see you again soon on the Bright Eyes World Health Network. So I'm here with Lauren Lockman from the Tanglewood Wellness Center down in Maryland, and Lauren is one of the featured speakers here today, and we just had a great lecture there today, Lauren, and you had some great information. And from listening to you, I felt like things fall into two categories: what we put in our body, and then the ability for the body to remove things that we don't want from our body. So at first you talked about the different types of food, and that not all food is actually food, which I found very interesting. So what would you say we would really consider a true food for us as human beings?
I would say that the human body is specifically designed for a diet of primarily fruit, tender, soft, leafy greens, lettuce, young dandelion greens, baby spinach.
So where'd you get this idea? Where'd you come up with that crazy idea?
Yeah, it's amazing, isn't it? I started by looking at nature, Kevin. I was sick, and I looked at what the animals were doing and realized there was a diet for each species. If you look at our digestive tracts, they're virtually identical to the digestive tract of every other anthropoid primate, with the exception of some of the gorillas.
Right.
This is what they do. They eat mostly fruit, a little bit of green leaves, and very small amounts of soaked nuts and seeds.
Right. And they seem like they seem to live pretty well, and they look like they're pretty healthy. So you thought that would be the right sort of thing for us, perhaps, huh?
Well, as I think you know, I was motivated by being very sick.
Right.
And conventional nutrition theory had already failed me. I didn't know where to look. And so I started looking out in nature, and it made sense to me. I was trying to figure out what was most natural to my body. The law of similars says that if two species share the same digestive tract, it means they share the same diet.
Would make sense, absolutely it would.
So it occurs to me that if we have the exact same system as these animals, we've evolved over millions of years, likely eating the same food.
Absolutely.